Like many of you, we at DNASTAR are working from home right now. We know that a lot of you have installed or are planning to install the extended 90-day free trial of Lasergene that we're offering on your home computer. We do realize that this might be your first experience installing Lasergene on your own, or maybe it's your first time using the latest version of Lasergene. There might be some applications that you've never seen before. So we wanted to hold this quick webinar to get you up and running. Our webinar today is in 3 parts, and each of them is just going to be about 10 minutes long, including questions. So first, Brian Anderson will explain how to install and access Lasergene applications at home. And then Matt Kaiser will be showing you how to do genomics assemblies using the cloud. And that includes the free cloud assemblies that come with your home installation of the free trial. Finally, I'll be showing you how to access our Lasergene training resources.
Perfect. Thank you, Sharon, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your schedule to meet with us this morning, whether morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world today. I assume everybody agrees that it is a very difficult, trying time, right now in the world. But I just want to say on behalf of DNASTAR, if there's anything that we can kind of do to help, please keep us in mind. As Sharon said, my name is Brian Anderson. So I'm a product of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I have been with DNASTAR for just over 15 years. My primary responsibilities would be the western half of the United States. And it's really awesome to see, the number of familiar names, that are on the webinar today. As Sharon mentioned, the focus of this webinar is how, one could potentially use our solutions at home, as well as what, have a, talk about what DNASTAR is doing to make it, easier for remote use. For example, for current customers, we are providing some free, term license options, as we ride out, this pandemic together. It's actually amazing to see, the number of researchers and the research that is still going on actually in the world today. So to highlight, we actually are in the middle of the corona, virus research. We have a number of researchers who are actively developing, studying, researching the software. So here's just to highlight some of those publications recently this year of people who have used our solutions. Because of the current pandemic, we thought it would be, very helpful, to put together a quick webinar, discuss, some tools that research not be aware of in the suite. For example, we probably have all type of users here, in the webinar today. We might have new users, we might have longtime users, we might have individuals that simply just came to our website and, they're working with a demo. So we have a number of different tools in the suite. For example, we have some helpful tools to, search NCBI databases, tools to do similarity searches for NCBI, Swiss Pro, and Protein Data Bank, as well as tools to bring in annotated data via Entree, and direct 3-dimensional images via Protein Data Bank. We also have more advanced tools using cloud resources. So say, for example, you're doing next-gen sequencing and your 64 gig computer that's in the lab is in the lab and you have remote, use. We do have some cloud solutions where you can turn any desktop, laptop computer into a 64 gig, 128 gig workstation to, do your analyses. We also have tools for protein structure prediction, protein docking, antibody modeling. So I thought we just kind of talk about, some tools that you might not be aware of, some workflows that you might not be aware of that can kind of assist in helping you analyze your data when you're remotely at home. To start, I thought we just would start on our website. So for a number of you, maybe you haven't visited our website before, but we try to make it really easy to contact us. So everybody should be able to see this on the top left-hand corner. There's a questions contact us tab. If you want to contact us directly, there's our phone number in the United States. You can simply just call us at that phone number. If I click on that link, it will actually create a web form where you can actually fill in your question. You can, access a free trial if you want to. We also do currently have live chat. So all of us are working remotely from home, but we also do have access to our website where we can answer questions on our chat on our website. So that would be in the bottom left-hand corner. So feel free to contact us if you have a question about a specific workflow, pricing information, you're seeing an error or something like that. It's kind of unique for your specific situation. Please don't hesitate to contact us. On the bottom right-hand corner, we also do have an email where you can actually simply send a quick email and a question where we'll get back in touch with you, via email if that's your preferred methods of correspondence. Like Sharon mentioned, currently for all current customers, we are offering a free term solution at no questions asked, a free pricing, free term license where you can work remotely from home. To access a free license, all you simply just need to do is actually download a free trial. So if I click on the download free trial button here, what's going to pop up is automatically on our website, researchers can go to our website and get a 14-day trial delivered automatically to their inbox, as long as they haven't, evaluated trial in the last year, I believe. So simply fill out your contact information, your operating system, whether you want to subscribe to some newsletters that we routinely set out on a regular basis. Simply click access free trial, and what will happen is a splash window will pop up, which has a download icon on the right-hand side, where you can download the installer, whether Mac or Win, and then there's an authorization key that you can simply use to copy and paste into the installer when it's prompted. So upon downloading, on the left-hand side, here is actually a copy of the installer. So you simply double-click on this, follow all the prompts, the default settings, and then simply copy-paste, the key in that interface when you're prompted. If you are a current customer and you need a license for remote use, you will actually get some instant messaging from DNASTAR. Simply just respond to that messaging and tell them your situation. So you're at a location that is using the software on a regular basis. You're locked out of, the lab, and you simply would like a 90-day trial, and then we will simply provide you with that. With that said, I thought we'd actually go into once you install the software. For some reason, some researchers out there, maybe your IT installs all your software. You're not familiar with installing the software. The initial thing that will pop up is what we call our DNASTAR Navigator upon installation. So this Navigator serves as an interface into our solutions. So the version that I'm working with today is actually Lasergene version 17. So this would be the most current release from DNASTAR, like so. So in this Navigator, you can set it up either to view by specific applications that are in the software, as well as organize this Navigator by specific workflows, that you may be more familiar with. So if you're new to the software and you don't know which application does what, I would recommend maybe just looking through the various workflow options that we have here. Whether you're doing agar gel simulation, Sanger alignments, maybe you're getting into next-gen sequencing, variance analysis, maybe you're doing a functional analysis of VCF files, so forth. This Navigator is very intuitive and helpful to point you towards the workflow and the specific applications that are appropriate within the software. My favorite is actually to organize by application. That way I can directly link to the application that I know that I want to use to get my work done. One other helpful resource built into this Navigator on the right-hand side here, if we simply highlight, click on some of these icons here, so for example, this eye, this will directly take you to our website where there's a number of different resources that we've curated and brought online that will help you, through a specific question. So maybe there's a specific parameter in the software that you want to obtain more information about. Maybe you're new to SeqBuilder Pro and you want to have a basic introduction of the software. There's videos, there's tutorials, and Sharon will kind of go over this later in the webinar in regards to how to make the most of this, online resource. With that said, I thought we'd just simply open our SeqBuilder Pro application. So SeqBuilder Pro would be our tool for protein visualization, nucleotide visualization, in silico cloning, primer design, sequence annotation, automated annotation, automated cloning. So this is the foundational tool that you're going to use for some of those basic bioinformatic processes. To bring data into the software, it's simple as drag and drop. So for example, I'm dragging and dropping here bacteriophage lambda into the software. it's actually going to it's going to bring over all the annotations that are associated with that file. And if you have a FASTA file, there's actually some tools built into the software that I can bring in my FASTA nucleotide string and actually use the auto annotation capabilities from the feature pull down. So if you want to auto annotate a sequence, there's actually a built-in annotation database of plasmid parts, or you can actually bring in your own parts to use for downstream auto annotation as well. So drag and drop is a very helpful way to bring data into SeqBuilder. There's also a number of different options where I can bring data, online from online resources. So say, for example, I have a file or a session number from NCBI and you want to bring in that information fairly easily. The way to do that is I simply just File, select Open Entree Sequence. And in this specific case, I can simply paste in the accession number for bacteriophage lambda, specify whether it's a nucleotide or protein, hit OK, and then what's going to happen is it's going to prompt you, okay, where do you want to save the data to? Specify the directory where you would like to save the data to, and simply it will bring down that annotated sequence from NCBI Entree. Just to show that I didn't, I can, bring in another file. Let's File, Open Entree Sequence. I can type in 1, 2, 3. Do the same thing. Bring the data down, and there's my fully annotated, in this specific case, beta lactoglobulin. Within SeqBuilder, you can fully annotate. I can create primers, do in silico cloning. I can look at specific comments that are associated with this specific accession number. There's a number of different options that you can kind of do within the software. One helpful tool that's actually also built into SeqBuilder Pro is the ability to search various databases on NCBI. So whether nucleotide or protein searches. So say, for example, if I want to search SARS, CoV, two, say, for example, and just do a nucleotide search, it will automatically search NCBI, give you results, based on, whatever criteria. There's different filters that you can apply. There's different databases, strains that you can search through. But from here, I can very easily and directly check results and actually batch save some of these results down to your computer. So for example, in this specific case, I have a folder of coronavirus data. I'm simply going to download these 4 files. I'm going to set my location, hit OK. And then it's going to automatically bring those data points and populate them into a folder that I've previously specified. All right, so that's kind of a very brief introduction to SeqBuilder Pro, utilizing some common, connection tools that people may not be aware of, within the software. Any questions about SeqBuilder Pro before we very quickly go on to one of our other applications?
No, nothing about SeqBuilder Pro. You go ahead, Brian.
Okay. One other, before I move on, actually one common question that sometimes people have is, we realize that not everybody in the world uses, Lasergene, and that's great. It's great to have a number of freeware and commercial tools out there. If you want to share data with a colleague, the one thing that we like to do, and we give a high preference for our software, is the ability to export out as standardized file formats. So say, for example, your colleague is not using, our products, you can very easily select File, Save As, and we do also have some standardized file formats that people can save out their data out to, where you can share easily, with a colleague. All right. The next application I very quickly thought we'd go introduce and talk about is our Megaline Pro application. So I took those, those genomes from coronavirus, say, for example, I downloaded using SeqBuilder Pro. Built into Megaline Pro is some more additional search criteria, search tools. So say, for example, I want to search for text in that nucleotide and protein database again. You have some various other options where I can very easily search, say, SARS, say, for example. And actually do a search directly in our Megaline Pro application. The results of these searches, say, for example, is going to give you a search field like so. And each search that you search in some of these newer applications will be populated here as jobs on the bottom right-hand corner of the interface. So from here, I can double click on some of these selections and it's going to automatically open the search results. In NCBI, I have a direct link to the appropriate citations as well as the nucleotide information that's appropriate for those specific searches that you're searching for. I can also add these into my project. So whether you get them via SeqBuilder Pro or Megaline Pro, I can highlight selections, add them to the project. And in this specific case, if I wanted to do a genome alignment of those different coronavirus strains, so what I just basically did here is I used our MAUVE algorithm built into Megaline Pro. I can actually show the similarities and differences between these different novel coronavirus strains. So the end result is our images that you can further decorate, annotate, and in this specific case, as we're looking at different strains from different parts of the world, you can clearly, look at alignment reports to see if there's any variations across those different genomes. So in this specific case, the ends of the genome would have some differences. All right. One other thing I wanted to show you is also the ability to, open protein data information. So our tool that we call Protein 3D serves as an interface into our NOVA applications for protein structure prediction, protein docking, and antibody modeling. It also is simply a tool for, protein visualization. So if you wanted to bring in data from the protein data bank, you simply go File, Open from PDB, type in a protein ID, hit OK. What that's going to automatically do is connect to the protein data bank, pull down any information, structures that have been annotated in regards to that protein ID. In Protein 3D, it's going to give you a number of different tools to extrapolate the various physicochemical properties of that protein. I can decorate, further annotate, further style, export these images for publication purposes, so forth. One other helpful tool within Protein 3D is also the ability to highlight a selection, highlight a protein motif, and simply just do a protein similarity search using NCBI, SwissProt, Entree searches, etc. To search that, you simply go search for sequences. Since I highlighted this selection, it's going to automatically highlight that selection. I simply hit run, next, and then what results is in 41 seconds in this specific case, I'm going to get a report of similar protein information via similarity, score, e-value, percent coverages, as well as in this specific case, it's giving me a session number where I can see that, okay, that motif has a similar correspondence to chain A of hemoglobin alpha chain from Homo sapiens. So it's definitely helpful. Those are some different workflows that people might not be aware of, in our software, where you can easily pull down data from online repositories as well as search various online repositories to bring data in. With that said, I thought we'd just now seek into Matt Kaiser presentation in regards to the ability to use some of our cloud resources.
Hold on there, Brian. I have a few questions for you.
By the way.
Are you still there?
I am.
Okay,
yeah.
We have 4 questions. First of all, can I analyze DNA methylation data using SeqBuilder Pro?
That is a very good question. So in SeqBuilder Pro, there really isn't any workflows to support, methylation results. With that said, there are some, we don't have a one-button solution that would support, methylation data, but there are some workflows where you can potentially, identify those areas in our various applications where you can look for mutations, find similar regions of interest where methylation could potentially occur. But the answer to your question, not in SeqBuilder Pro, but there are some workflows where you can potentially get to the answer.
So we'd recommend that this customer contact support so that somebody can show the different alternative applications where that could be studied, correct? Okay, thank you. And then the next thing is it possible to perform docking in Protein 3D?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, Protein 3D serves as a interface into our NOVA applications where you can actually set up docking simulations. So our NovaDock application would be the tool for protein docking. It's a tool that we've obtained from the Bates Lab at Cancer Research UK, SwarmDoc specifically. So you would submit those submissions via the Amazon Web Services, within our Protein 3D application, set up those simulations, and then there would be reports pulled down from Amazon Web Services, where you could further visualize the protein-protein interactions, as well as have some quality metrics to extrapolate the accuracy of those predictions. So it would be an advanced. The answer to the question would be an add-on or a plug-in to our Protein 3D application, where you could launch them directly in the Protein 3D interface.
Yes, and I believe that that those licenses are now available on the commercial and academic pricing pages. Is that correct? Where people can
Yeah, good question. So currently, with any current customer, if that's something that you're interested in, we're offering some free predictions where people can kind of take a look at that workflow. But yeah, we do have some pricing options as well on our website if that's something that you have a number of projects you need to perform.
Okay, and then I'm just going to ask one more question, even though we have a few more. If we don't get to your question, by the way, we will have somebody email you the answer in the next couple of days. But we wanted to kind of keep things moving along. But I did want to ask one more. In Megaline Pro, can I screen uploaded sequences that I upload against sequences pulled from the database? Like from the NCBI database.
Yeah, so in Megaline Pro, I can highlight a selection and then simply just do a search, a similarity search via the search pull down, search for sequences. So kind of similar to what I kind of showed in Protein 3D. So these are newer applications within the suite. So there's some various options where I can do Megablast, BlastN, TBlastX, so forth, as well as specify various database that we support within the software. So non-redundant database, human genomic transcriptome. There's a number of different options that you can kind of search your sequence of interest in the various online repositories.
All right, I think that's all that we have time for Brian's segment. Thank you, everybody who asked questions, and we'll get back to you if Brian wasn't able to address it live today. So Brian, go ahead and you can change the presenter to Matt. And I'll introduce Matt. So Matt Kaiser is our Senior Manager of Product Development, and he's going to be showing how to do genomics assemblies using your home laptop.
Great. Thank you, Sharon, and thanks, Brian. So I'm going to show you some of the new functionality in version 17 that really makes it more conducive to work from home than it was in our previous versions. We'll start here with our DNASTAR Navigator that Brian had mentioned, and I have it organized by workflow. And you can see that we have genomics and transcriptomics workflows. And just for a demo purpose, I'll pick a genomics workflow, de novo genome assembly and editing. And this will launch the new SeqMan engine wizard. And this wizard now has been completely redone for version 17. And it's going to give us a couple options at the end. So really, it's going to look at what we're trying to do and assess the hardware on your computer, look at the input data, and then give you some guidance at the end whether or not this will be successful on your local computer, or it can redirect you to the cloud and do everything kind of seamlessly and automatically. When we look at the wizard, we can see also in this bottom left-hand corner, there's the key with a check box, and that is letting me know that I've been logged in. And this gives me access to assemblies on the cloud. So if you're using a demo, one of the demos while you're at home, you'll get some free cloud assemblies that you are welcome to try out. And this box will let me know that I'm logged in and how many assemblies I have available to me. The login credentials, again, are what you set for your account. And if you need any help with that or have problems with that, you can contact us for tech support. So once you're logged in, you're ready to go. And then you can start picking the different workflows. You can see here that we have, I actually have version 17.1 installed, and you can see we have Sanger data, NGS data, and long read, which we'll have a beta of fairly soon here. But we're going to pick a NGS-based workflow and add some input data. So I'm going to go to my desktop here, and I have some webinar data. And here's some FASTQ input files from a Arabidopsis genome. And this pair. So this is all the same as the previous wizard, no major changes at this point. You can see we can limit the input reads here. So we'll come back to this. So this is a key, and you can see that by default we have it set for limiting the maximum number of input reads, right? So there's a limit put on by default. We can remove that limit, right? We're going to try to assemble all the data, and then click next. And there's some trimming options, and I'm going to set the genome size here, and I forget exactly how big Arabidopsis is, but we're just going to say it's 100,000. Oops. 100 megabases. And click next. Arabidopsis genome, right? So I'm just setting up a basic de novo assembly, and we'll put that in an output folder. Okay, so I've saved to a folder on my desktop, right? So I picked a local destination, and we have some output files, an SQD file, which is editable. And now we click next. And this last page is really where the significant difference is with this version of our wizard versus the previous version. So what it's doing, in the input information, it's looking at the amount of input read bases and the amount of coverage that's estimated. And this is pretty thin, right? This little demo data set. So only 6x coverage. But because my genome is 100 megabases in size, it's going to estimate the amount of RAM. So this estimated requirement is going to estimate both memory, and it's also looking at disk space. Because this is de novo, the disk space is not applicable. It doesn't use, the algorithm doesn't use disk space for those temp files. It's really looking at the amount of memory. And this laptop that I have, it's a pretty nice laptop. It's powerful, but it's limited to 16 gigs of RAM. And we can see here that the estimate is about 40 gigs of RAM for a genome of the size. So it flags the assembly, and it gives me some warning, and it says your computer doesn't meet the minimum requirements for this assembly. So it's going to make me pause. It's not going to prevent me from running this on my computer. I can still try, but it's giving me fair warning that it probably isn't going to succeed. It'll probably run out of RAM. So it's recommended that I run this on the cloud. And so hopefully you've got some cloud assemblies. You can run this on the cloud, and what it's going to do is automatically, with no further input, I click on this, right? It's going to start uploading my data to the cloud, right? And it's really, at this point, it's going to be hands-off. It's going to upload the data. It's going to start up an instance of SeqMan Engine on an Amazon cloud machine. This status will change from uploading to assembling. When it's done, it'll return that automatically back to my computer, and it'll go back to where I specified where I wanted it to go. It'll automatically download to this folder on my desktop. Now you can also see, well, where is it going on the cloud? You can see the cloud location is automatically created for you. So you'll get access to our cloud data drive, and you can see I use this a lot, so I've got lots of data sets up there already, and we automatically create this folder called assemblies, right? And here you can see the one that I just started. So it made this folder. Again, if you're a new user, you don't, this might be the only folder that you have up there, and you don't have to make folders or organize it. It'll just do that in an automated fashion. Now, I could have changed this location and started to organize my data as I run more cloud assemblies, but we wanted to keep things nice and streamlined, and so it was really just hands off. You say assemble on the cloud, and then we just let it go, and we can monitor it here. Now, you'll notice that the input here, uploading at my home bandwidth gets pretty narrow. We've got 2 boys at home on Xboxes, and everybody's streaming Hulu, and so the upload speeds really, with everybody at home, get throttled back a bit. So this might be the slowest part. I can also, and I see that all. mention that we lost my sound. Oh,
I think you're back again now, Matt. Just keep talking.
yep, and that's probably the
Yep.
upload, you know, so we're uploading something fairly large here, and we're fighting for bandwidth. And what I've learned is that certain devices take higher priority. So even though your work is very important to you, the Xbox gaming system has the highest priority out of all systems. So hopefully nobody's on those right now. I tried to tell them not to be on the Xbox while this webinar is going on. But yeah, everyone's kind of fighting for this bandwidth. So what I would recommend is if you can log into a bigger computer at work, you can also upload data there and just use the cloud data drive, launch it from your start menu, and upload data to folders there, and then you have access to them. And when I'm going to go back now in the wizard, and you can see where it says input sequences, I can also add from the cloud. And when I click this button, I can also see that data on my cloud and use that as input data. So it's another way, once you have used this system before, you can just have the data up there and move it where you have a lot of bandwidth and get your data sets. And that's exactly what I do, is I move these data sets to where I can access them now from home. And now I can work from home, run any of these assemblies, even on my laptop, even the biggest assemblies, and let them download. And the download speeds are a lot faster typically than uploads. So that's not as much of an issue. Now, I will say that you may also be able to run, you know, if your laptop has 16 gigs of RAM, if I go back and do smaller genomes, you know, if my genome was, you know, much smaller, you know, then the estimate is going to be well within 16 gigs of RAM. So again, depending on the computer that you're working on, this assessment page here will be flexible. You can change the amount of input reads, you can, you know, adjust the depth of coverage, and just look at the recommendation and see, you know, you might be able to cut back on the input reads a little bit and assemble locally. I like to do things in the cloud if I can, because it frees up my local computer. You know, even if this local computer can do the assemblies, it can also use a lot of CPU and kind of bog things down. So it's a lot nicer just to run those things on the big Amazon computer and keep my laptop free and clear. So with that, you know, I'd be happy to take any questions from anybody that's interested in cloud assembly.
Okay, thank you, Matt. We have a few questions. First of all, can other staff members in my lab share data that is in the cloud data drive?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're willing to or able to share your credentials, so just the username and password, everybody can log in from different computers, all different locations, and share that data.
Great. And then the other question we have is, can we try cloud assemblies if we don't have an NGen license?
Yes. My understanding is that during this pandemic, that anyone that gets the demos will automatically get a full license of Lasergene, and that includes a number of cloud assemblies.
Okay. And then let's see, we have two new questions just came in. The first one is, since we're running on the cloud, can we run these assemblies using 4 gigabytes of RAM?
Yeah. So they're really 4 gigs of RAM. All you're doing is setting the project up, and it's sending a little script file up to the cloud, a little text file, and it just initiates the upload. There is during the upload, there is compression of the files. And so if you're uploading directly from that 4 gig RAM computer, it will use your CPU as it's zipping those files. So, you know, that would be the only limiting factor. If you had huge numbers or gigantic FASTQ files, you know, it'll use your CPU a while. So, but
Yeah.
Other than that, it should be fine.
I've had that experience too. I have very little space on my laptop, and when I initiate the assembly and it starts to kind of behind the scenes, it starts zipping the files and uploading them, my computer might slow down for 10 or 15 minutes. But then while it's doing the assembly and everything, my computer's totally back to normal, and I can do anything I want to on it. So there might just be a little slow. If you have a very little RAM, there might be a small slowdown during that upload stage. And
right,
then
and you can see. Sharon, you can see here on my cloud monitor that it's now on the 4 files. It's on the 3rd file. So, you
Wow,
know,
it's just in 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a robust protocol. So the zipping and then the upload that we use for this cloud data drive is really, really good. So you know, I've done files, you know, I've done hundreds of gigs of files, you know, using this this uploader. So it's really robust.
And then our last question is, where are the cloud servers located? In the US or Canada? Does this have implications for the security of sensitive data?
I don't know if I can. I believe it's all Amazon, and so my understanding is Amazon has what we use is U.S. based, but I don't know for certain. That's something that you know we could ask
Yep.
our IT people here to see where physically they're located.
Yeah, and we do have a white paper on our website. I think it's under the resources menu. You can get to the white papers, and it explains where, you know, like how the cloud operates and how the data security works with that Amazon cloud.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Matt, and I'm going to go ahead and take control now.
Okay, great.
And then let's see. So I'm going to be presenting our final segment today. Again, I'm Sharon Paige. I'm DNASTAR's Senior Content Developer. I've been with DNASTAR for, I think, 16, 17 years, something like that. I write most of the help, user's guide, tutorials, and I make probably a good half of the videos. So you've probably seen my work, even if you don't know me. And hopefully you are consulting the help when you need help. We have a great support team in place. But your first line of to answer a question, the thing that's probably the absolute fastest is to go check out our help. So I'm going to show you how to access the training materials while you're working off-site, same as if you're working on-site too. So our polling questions show that not everybody has access to Lasergene quite yet. Hopefully you will all have access by, you know, later today, now that you know how to do the free trial download that Brian showed us. But whether or not you can access your data or your work email, because some of you don't have access to those, one thing you can always do from home is just learn how to use Lasergene more effectively by checking out some of our training videos or our tutorials. They have free practice data. So you can practice all that stuff even if you don't have access to your own data because it's locked up in a lab somewhere. So everything I'm going to show you right now can be accessed from our website, which you see here, DNASTAR.com. And if you already know what application you want to use for your research, I recommend that you go straight to the training page. Just click right on training. So before we open up any of the help, I want to point out a couple items of interest on this page. The first one is there's a Lasergene installation guide that you can get to right at the very top. Most people will only need this simple guide to installation topic. This is just a little one-page topic, and that's all that, like, probably 99% of users will need to get started if you need anything at all. The rest of the guide doesn't really pertain to working from home. The detailed guide and the network license server administration topics, those are for people who are on site and have like an IT person that's administering everything. So just this simple guide is enough. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you is a lot of people might be using older versions of Lasergene, and when you're downloading the free trial to use from home, it might be your first experience with Lasergene 17. You might not have used some of our newer applications yet, like SeqMan Ultra just came out in, I believe, February. So we have a guide called Transitioning to Newer Applications that it'll walk you through step by step, showing the way that you used to do things in the old application and then what it looks like in the new application. All right, so back to the training page here. The main items on this page are the help. and tutorials for each of our applications. So let's go to Megaline Pro. You'll see a plus sign next to the application name. Just click on that to open it up. So you'll see that Megaline Pro just has one help document, like one user guide here. And we'll click on that. So the user guide covers all of the topics that you might need to know about. And right at the very top are the tutorials. That's true for most of our help modules are going to have the tutorials right at the top. So you just find a tutorial that you're interested in. Here's a pairwise alignment tutorial. And you'll see step by step with illustrations when needed. The data can be downloaded right from this tutorial. So you just click here to download the data in the very first step, and then it'll walk you through using that data. So now let's return to the DNASTAR homepage. So a lot of the time you might know what workflow you want to follow, but you don't know what application you need to use. So in that case, the training page would not be that helpful. So that's why we have now these new workflow pages. Our colleague Anne has been putting these together for the past couple of months. So these are all brand new. And this does not assume that you have any knowledge of the what workflow, or sorry, what application to use for the workflow. So in this case, let's just go to de novo genome assembly. Hello. Okay, there we go. So on this page, just like all of our workflow pages, it'll start with a text description on the left, and then on the right will be a video that is just a 2 or 3 minute introduction to that workflow. We also break down every workflow into just 4 steps. So it kind of makes everything a lot easier to understand if you see kind of what the intermediate steps are along the way of the workflow. As you scroll down, the next thing you'll come to is a little image of a computer, and underneath that are a bunch of resources. So we have resources, tutorials, FAQs, citations, and the user guide. These things are all actually on this same page. These are just links that'll take you further down the page. So let's just scroll down a little bit. You can see the resources for de novo genome assembly. There's a white paper about it. There are 2 webinars you can watch that are like 40 minutes or so that will give you in-depth knowledge about this workflow. There's a blog post, a recent blog post about it. And then we've got a bunch of video tutorials here that have to do just with this workflow. There's also a link to the written tutorials that'll take you to the user guide again that I showed you, and it'll take you straight to the tutorial section. Then each of the workflows has some FAQs with our frequently asked questions and some citations where some of our users have published in peer-reviewed journals using this workflow using the DNASTAR software. So that is it for the workflow pages. I guess that is probably enough to show right now. Oh, one last thing is, if you're a current user, you're an experienced Lasergene user, and you want to find out what's new in our latest version, which is Lasergene 17, you can go to product update resources, product updates, and then Lasergene 17 release notes. And you'll see on the left here, there's a list of all the things that were updated a couple of months ago. So you might find some new workflows there, and then you could go to the workflow page. A lot of them have the link. See, there's a miRNA quantitation workflow. You just click on that. That'll take you to that workflow page that has the videos, the links to the tutorials and everything. So there might be some new workflows you don't know about yet, and this is a great time to get up to speed while you're working from home. So let me just check and see if we have any questions about our training resources. Oh, okay, so we have one question. Is the free trial limited to 14 days only? I'll answer this, and then if I'm wrong, Matt or Brian, please step in. So I believe the free trial is normally for 14 days, but if you are working from home due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we can get you a 90-day fully functional free trial to use on your home computer. I believe when you install the free trial, Brian was saying that you get prompted to answer if you are working from home, and then it just kind of seamlessly can give you that 90-day trial. I'm not sure you have to contact customer support. Can you, one of you guys let me know?
Yeah, actually, you're going to get any demo. You'll get a message from your representative almost instantaneously. Simply just reply that to that first email, tell them your situation, and then we can set up a longer term license for you. So yeah, you don't automatically get a 90-day. Anything through the website would be a 14-day. But just like I said, during this time, simply just respond to the first email from us, tell us your situation, and then we can set up a license for you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brian. So we do have a couple more questions that came in. I'm going to just have people address those by email after this, because I don't want this to go on for too much longer. We were intending this to be kind of a quick way to get you guys up and running. So I am sharing a PowerPoint slide right now. To request a license of Lasergene for home use, just contact support@dnastar.com, or just to get the 14-day trial, go ahead and go to our website, and there's a link on every page for the free trial. And then, as Brian said, you can contact customer support to get that extended if you are working from home.